everyone, and welcome to this Melodrive tutorial video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how you can use Melodrive's Ensembles feature to change the virtual band that's playing the music. I'll explain a little bit what I mean by that. Let's think about rock music for a second. Now there's lots of different kinds of rock bands. Some will have drums, bass and guitars, most of them do. But some might have a synth part, some might have a piano or harmonica or some different instruments between the bands. In Melodrive, we collect those different parts into what we call an ensemble. And when you change an ensemble, you're essentially changing the band that's playing the music. So if you wanted to have a rock band with a piano in it, then you change to the piano rock ensemble. If you wanted to have a rock band with a strings part, then you change to the strings rock ensemble. So in this video, we'll be using the rock style, but all styles in Melodrive have ensembles, and sometimes they can really drastically change what the music sounds like. So I encourage you to have a play around with different ensembles and see what works best for you. Okay, so here we have our open Unity scene here. And I've gone ahead and added the Melodrive prefab, which is in the resources folder here. And on the Melodrive prefab, I've selected play on start. And I've also selected the initial style to be rock and the initial emotion to be happy. So let's hear what that sounds like when I click play. Okay, we heard some happy rock music there. Now if I click play again, we'll hear a completely new track that's been generated by Melodrive. And as part of that new track, Melodrive will choose a new ensemble for us automatically. So let's hear some different examples. Okay, so as you heard there, every time we entered play mode, the sound sounded slightly different. Sometimes it was just an instrumentation change, but sometimes the entire ensemble changed as well. And so Melodrive makes these decisions for you by default. So it chooses a random ensemble, and then when it chooses an ensemble, it will choose instruments to fill that ensemble part. So even within one ensemble, there's some variety. What I'm going to show you in this video is how you can find out what ensembles are in each style, and also how you can set an ensemble so that when Melodrive starts playing, you know more or less how the music is going to sound. So let's do that now. So the first thing I'm going to do is uncheck this play on starts checkbox. As we saw in the last few tutorial videos, if we want to do something to configure Melodrive before it starts playing, we need this checkbox to be unchecked. So I'll go ahead and uncheck that now. And then what we need is some kind of script that's going to control Melodrive for us. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to add a script on the main camera here. You can call this script whatever you want, but I'm just going to call it Ensembles. Then I'm going to edit this script. Okay, so this script is now opened in Visual Studio, and I'm going to do the usual first steps of grabbing the Melodrive plugin component. Now I have the Melodrive plugin component, I can begin configuring Melodrive. So what I'll do first is I'll initialize Melodrive to be in the rock style and in the happy emotion. Okay, so if you just wanted to simply set an ensemble and always hear music in that ensemble, then you can do that with the set ensemble method. So here we have set ensemble, and ensemble is a string. And here, ensembles are the names of the ensembles that are available. So for instance, we have an ensemble called Strings Rock. So if I set the ensemble to Strings Rock, and then I'll tell Melodrive to play. Well, now when I go back to Unity and I enter play mode, and again into play mode. So both times I entered into play mode there, we heard the same ensemble. And no matter how many times I would enter and exit play mode, we'd hear the same ensemble because we've told Melodrive that the ensemble should be Strings Rock. So that's how you can simply change ensemble using the set ensemble method. But what if you wanted to change the ensemble and find out what ensembles there are available? So in order to find out what ensembles are available in Melodrive, we need to wait for the first cue to be loaded in Melodrive. Now, if you're interested to learn more about cues, I'll be talking about them more in the next tutorial video, while I'll also be talking about musical seeds. But for now, you can think about cues as a musical state, like in a state machine. So what I want to do is I want to listen to a cue change event here in my script. And we can do that simply by adding a listener to the Melodrive cue change event. So we just type md.cueChange. We want to add a new Melodrive plugin cue change handler, and it's going to be a callback within this script here called onCueChange, which I'll create now. Now, if we have a look at what the cue change handler looks like, we'll see that we need a cue, a seed name, and a style as arguments. So I'll add those in as arguments here. I'll be going into musical seeds more in the next tutorial video. For now, you can think of the cue as a musical state, as I mentioned, and the style will be the style of the cue that's loaded. In this case, it will be rock. But once we receive this cue change handler, we know that the system has been initialized and the first cue is ready to go. So we can query what ensembles there are in Melodrive at this point. And we do that by calling the getEnsembles method. So if I save this to a string array, and then what I'll do here is I'll just print the ensembles out to the console so that we can see them. Okay, so now when I switch back to Unity and I enter into play mode, I should see the list of available ensembles print out. Okay, so there we have it. We have 4 ensembles available to us in rock. Classic rock band, piano rock band, strings rock, and chiptune rock. So let me just create a list up here quickly for the rock ensembles that we have. This is just so that we can quickly access them here in this class. We can, of course, just query Melodrive for them and get them that way, but just for simplicity, I'll pop them up here. Okay, so now that we have our list of ensembles, we don't need to set the ensemble here anymore. What I'm going to do instead is on our cue change event, I'm going to get the current ensemble that Melodrive has chosen for us. And I can do that by calling get current ensemble, like so. That's no longer a we don't need that anymore. And I'm going to create a class variable here for it. So whenever our cue changes, we're going to retrieve the current ensemble and then save it to this variable here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a drop-down list here so that we can change ensembles in real time. So there I've created a new drop-down in the canvas. I'm going to rename it to Ensembles. Drop-down. And then I'm going to grab that here in my script as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of the options to the drop-down based on whatever we have in our string array here. And then once I've added all of the ensembles to my drop-down, I'm going to add an event listener so that when the drop-down changes, I change the ensemble in Melodrive. And then just as we did before, I'm going to call set ensemble. With that new ensemble that I've selected. And then the final thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make sure that the drop-down displays the correct value for the first cue that's loaded. So down here on cue change, we're getting the value of the current ensemble, and then we want to just change the ensembles drop-down value to be the same index of the ensemble that we've loaded. So there we have it. So just to go through this again, we first add all of our ensemble options to our drop-down. We then add a value listener onto the drop-down itself. And whenever that changes, we want to set the ensemble in Melodrive. Then whenever the cue changes in Melodrive, we want to retrieve the current ensemble that we have and just make sure that the ensembles drop-down shows the correct value there. So let's see that in action. Clicking play here, we're looking at this drop-down here. So this is the Strings Rock Ensemble, which has been selected for us. And if I change to Chiptune Rock, Piano Rock, and Classic Rock. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial video. I've shown you how you can use ensembles in Melodrive to make sure that the same virtual band is playing when you enter play mode. I've also shown you how you can retrieve the list of ensembles from Melodrive using the get ensembles method, and shown you that you can set the ensemble in real time just as you did with style or indeed emotion. Next up, I'm going to be showing you how you can save and load entire compositions with what's called a musical seed. So check out that and other tutorials on our channel, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks very much, and see you next time.